Hello, amazing students. Welcome to English with Sophie. You know English. You've studied for years. You can read books, watch movies, understand conversations. Your grammar is solid, your vocabulary keeps growing, yet something still feels off. When you speak, there's a tiny delay, a mental translation happening in the background. You search for words that should come naturally. It's frustrating because you're not a beginner anymore. You've put in the work. You've passed tests. But fluency feels like it's always just out of reach, like trying to grab smoke. You wonder if maybe you're missing some secret that native speakers have. The truth is simpler and more surprising than you think. If it's not your skill, then what's really holding you back? Most learners blame themselves. They think they're lazy because they don't study enough hours. They think they're shy because they freeze during conversations. They believe some people have a natural gift for languages and they simply don't. They compare themselves to others and feel inadequate. But here's what nobody tells you. It's not a personal flaw. It's not about talent or personality. The real problem is structural. The way you've organized your relationship with English keeps you stuck in the same place. Think about it. You study English, then return to your normal life. You practice English, then switch back to your native language. You're working hard, but the system itself is broken. So what's wrong with the system itself? Most learners build what I call study islands. These are isolated moments with English scattered throughout your week. Monday evening, you watch an English video. Wednesday afternoon, you study grammar for 30 minutes. Saturday morning, you practice speaking. Each moment exists alone, surrounded by oceans of your native language. Between these islands, English disappears completely. Your brain never stays in English long enough to make it automatic. It's like trying to learn swimming by getting wet once a week. The insight that changes everything. Islands don't connect. Fluency needs an ocean, constant presence, not sessions. Your brain needs to swim in English daily, not visit it occasionally. But how do you build an English ocean if you don't live abroad? Many people think immersion means moving to London or New York. They imagine you need to live in an English-speaking country, surrounded by native speakers every day. They believe real fluency is impossible without that experience. This belief stops millions of learners from ever reaching their potential. But here's the truth that will change your entire approach. Immersion is not geography. It's not about your passport or your address. Immersion is about psychology and exposure design. It's about what your brain experiences every single day, regardless of where you physically are. You can live in Tokyo, Mumbai, or Sao Paulo and still create complete English immersion. Geography is just convenience. Exposure is what matters. So how can you design immersion without leaving home? When learners feel stuck, they try to study harder. More hours, more textbooks, more practice tests. They add pressure and effort, believing willpower will break through the barrier. But this approach misses the fundamental switch you need to make. The real transformation isn't from less effort to more effort. It's from effort to environment. Stop trying to force yourself to study. Start changing your surroundings instead. Every object around you can remind you of English. Every sound you hear can be in English. Every routine you follow can include English naturally. When your environment speaks English, you don't need willpower anymore. The language comes to you automatically, constantly, effortlessly. But what does an English environment actually look like? Here's the mirror moment that reveals everything. Most learners consume English content. They watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, read articles. They're getting input, which is good. But there's a massive difference between watching English and living inside it. Watching means English stays outside you, something you observe. Living inside English means it becomes the voice of your thoughts. Right now, you probably think in your native language, then translate into English when needed. That translation step is what creates the delay, the searching for words. True fluency happens when English becomes your thinking language for certain moments, certain topics, certain situations. So how do you make your brain start thinking in English automatically? Look at your current English input honestly. Most learners get their English from 2 or 3 sources. Maybe one favorite YouTube channel, one podcast they listen to regularly, one type of content they feel comfortable with. This creates a problem. Your brain learns patterns, but only narrow ones. It's like eating the same meal every day. You know that meal perfectly, but you're not really learning food. The truth your brain needs is this: Learning happens through variety and repetition across different contexts. You need English at breakfast, during commute, while exercising, before sleep. You need different voices, different accents, different topics. Your brain builds fluency by recognizing patterns everywhere, not just in one comfortable zone. But doesn't that feel overwhelming? How do you manage it? Overwhelm kills consistency faster than anything else. When you try to change everything at once, you change nothing permanently. Your brain rebels against massive shifts. So here's the micro-habit formula that actually works. One English micro-moment per environment. Not hours of study. Not complete transformation overnight. Just one small, repeatable action in 3 key moments of your day. Morning routine. Listen to English while getting ready. Commute or movement time. Repeat phrases from a podcast. Evening wind down. Read something in English before sleep. Each micro moment takes 5 to 10 minutes maximum. Each one is easy enough that you can't fail. Together, they create constant touch points with English throughout your day. Can tiny actions really transform fluency? People doubt that 5-minute habits can make a real difference. They think fluency requires intense, focused study sessions. But here's what actually happens in your brain. Repeated micro-exposure creates massive subconscious fluency. Think about how you learned your native language as a child. You weren't studying grammar for hours. You were hearing language constantly, in tiny moments, throughout every single day. Your brain absorbed patterns automatically. The same mechanism still works in adulthood. When you touch English briefly but consistently, your brain starts recognizing patterns without conscious effort. After 30 days of morning English audio, certain phrases become automatic. After 60 days, you start thinking in those phrases. This is the compound effect. Small actions, repeated daily, create exponential results. So what's the right kind of exposure? Most learners listen passively. They play English audio in the background while doing other things. This helps a little, but it misses the technique that accelerates fluency dramatically. I call it echoing. Here's how it works. Play content with clear speech, something interesting to you. Listen to one short phrase or sentence. Pause. Repeat exactly what you heard out loud. Don't worry about understanding every word perfectly. Focus on copying the rhythm, the melody, the sound patterns. This trains something textbooks can't: automaticity. Your mouth learns the physical movements of English. Your brain connects sound with meaning without translation. 5 minutes of echoing equals 30 minutes of passive listening for building speaking fluency. But what if you sound awkward or forget the words? Fear of mistakes stops learners from speaking freely. You want to sound perfect, so you stay silent until you're sure. But perfection is the enemy of progress. Here's what matters more than sounding perfect: feedback loops. Every time you speak, even badly, your brain gets feedback. It hears what came out versus what you intended. That gap creates learning. Practice in low-pressure environments rewires confidence faster than any grammar lesson. Talk to yourself in English. Record voice messages to yourself. Narrate your actions while alone. These private practice moments build the neural pathways you need. When real conversations come, your brain already knows the feeling of speaking English. The words flow easier because you've practiced the flow itself. What if you could create that feedback loop without a teacher? Technology distracts most people instead of teaching them. Phones interrupt focus. Apps send notifications. Social media pulls attention away. But the same technology can become your immersion machine with simple changes. Change your phone's system language to English. Every button, every menu, every notification now speaks English. Your brain sees English hundreds of times daily without extra effort. Create English playlists for different moods. Energetic English music for mornings, calm English podcasts for evenings. Follow English content creators in your areas of interest: cooking, gaming, fitness, whatever you love. Your social media feed becomes an English environment. Every scroll, every video, every post reinforces the language naturally. But how do you keep this natural, not forced? Most learners separate real life from English practice. Life happens in their native language. English is something they do during study time. This separation is the core problem. Here's the integration that changes everything. Merge them completely. Narrate your day in English, even just in your head. Making coffee becomes "I'm pouring hot water into the mug." Walking to work becomes "The weather is cold today. I should have worn a jacket." Label objects around your home with English words. Text yourself notes in English about things you need to remember. English stops being a subject you study. It becomes the background soundtrack of your life, always playing softly, always present. So is fluency really just a habit of attention? Old routines keep pulling learners back into their native language. You wake up, check your phone in your native language, think in your native language all morning. These automatic patterns are powerful. Fighting them with willpower fails. Instead, you need to anchor English exposure to physical triggers. Every time you make coffee, English podcast plays. Every time you exercise, English music fills your ears. Every time you wait in line, you open your English reading app. The trigger becomes the cue. Coffee equals English. Exercise equals English. Waiting equals English. Your brain starts associating these moments with the language automatically. You don't decide to practice. The environment decides for you. But how do you keep motivation alive long-term? Learners chase motivation constantly. They watch inspiring videos, set big goals, imagine their fluent future. Motivation feels amazing for 3 days, then it fades. Then they feel guilty. Then they try to find motivation again. This cycle never ends. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Motivation is a side effect, not fuel. You don't need motivation to brush your teeth. You don't need inspiration to drink water. These actions happen because they're structured into your day. Fluency works the same way. When English is woven into your environment and routines, motivation becomes irrelevant. Structure creates momentum. The actions happen whether you feel inspired or not. On good days, you enjoy it. On bad days, it still happens. So what structure keeps your English alive even on bad days? Learners often realize they've been juggling random techniques. A grammar app here, a speaking partner there, some YouTube videos, a textbook they bought but never finished. Nothing connects to anything else. But fluency isn't built from random pieces. It's an ecosystem where everything supports everything else. Your environment reminds you to practice. Your habits create consistent exposure. Your triggers make it automatic. Your feedback loops build confidence. Your variety prevents boredom. Your micro moments prevent overwhelm. Each element connects to others. The podcast you echo in the morning gives you phrases you use when narrating your day. The words you label around your home appear in videos you watch. Everything reinforces everything. This is the fluency ecosystem, self-sustaining and growing naturally. But how do you know when fluency has finally clicked? Learners expect a dramatic breakthrough moment. They imagine waking up one morning suddenly fluent, like a switch flipped in their brain. They wait for that moment, watching for signs. But fluency sneaks in quietly. You're watching a video and realize you forgot to read the subtitles. You're thinking about your day and notice some thoughts happened in English. You're talking and words flow out before you consciously chose them. These invisible shifts are fluency arriving. The moment you forget you're translating is the moment it's working. You stop monitoring yourself constantly. English stops feeling foreign. It just becomes another way your brain operates, as natural as riding a bike once you've learned. If fluency happens unconsciously, what does that say about how we learn? Most people think fluency is knowledge. They believe you need to know more words, more grammar rules, more expressions. They study and memorize, collecting information. But here's the deep reveal that changes everything. Fluency is environmental memory. Your brain doesn't learn language through facts. It learns through adaptation. When your environment constantly speaks English, your brain adapts to process it automatically. Just like your ears adapt to hear your friend's voice in a noisy room, just like your eyes adapt to see in dim light, your brain is an adaptation machine. Feed it consistent English environments, and it will adapt to think in English. This isn't about studying harder. It's about living differently. So if the brain adapts automatically, what's your only real job? Learners still cling to effort as proof of progress. If it doesn't feel hard, they think they're not learning. They associate struggle with growth. But here's the final flip that brings everything together. Effort means friction. Fluency means flow. When you're fighting to remember words, that's friction. When words appear without searching, that's flow. Children don't struggle to learn their first language. They absorb it effortlessly because they're swimming in it constantly. You can return to that effortless state. Not because you're talented. Not because you found some secret method. Simply because you built an environment where English is everywhere. The less you fight against your natural tendencies, the faster you grow. So what happens when you stop trying to be fluent? The story reaches peace here. You don't practice English anymore, you live inside it. Your morning starts with English sounds. Your commute flows with English thoughts. Your work includes English reading. Your evening relaxes with English entertainment. The language isn't something separate from your life. It is your life, woven through everything naturally. Remember the beginning. You knew English, but something felt off. Now you understand why. It was never about studying harder. It was never about talent or time. It was about building an English world around you. When you change your environment, your brain changes automatically. Fluency isn't a destination you reach through effort. It's a space you create and step into daily. You're not chasing English anymore. English surrounds you. And in that ocean of constant, gentle exposure, fluency becomes as natural as breathing.